Okay, when the question of what's the greatest sequel comes up, people will most likely say The Dark Knight, Terminator 2, Spider-Man 2, heck, we'll even throw in there Mission Impossible Ghost Patrol, heck, we'll even throw in there Furious 7. But when I think of the greatest sequel, I think of the following factors.
The heck is the point of a sequel? Obviously to expand the story and make it better, introduce new exciting characters that will add more to that sequel, and obviously to tell a story that makes sense and ties to the predecessor.
And whenever those things come to mind, I think of the critically acclaimed Toy Story 2. Now, about a few weeks ago, I did a video on the first Toy Story movie and I had a blast doing it, obviously. So in this video, I want to bring out the same energy and the same vibe in order to go through Toy Story 2 and what makes it the perfect sequel. And could it be the greatest sequel ever made? Well, animation-wise. So, what the video said, the first thing that makes a sequel fundamentally great is story expansion. And what I believe is that Toy Story 2 has that. Let's start with the story. The story follows Woody wanting to go to this toy cowboy camp thing, which of course is excited for it because he's only gonna go there and he's gonna spend some alone time with Andy. Wait, pause. What I meant by that is that Andy is only gonna play with him, which to be honest, that's every toy's dream. But in the process, he rips his arm off, well, almost. So now Andy cannot take him to the festival or camp or whatever. I don't get it. He meets this toy, Wheezy. Don't worry, he's important. As Wheezy was not, feeling well. Oh well. Okay, let's be honest here. Wheezy was shelved for a very long time because the squeaker didn't work. So, while they're busy talking about this thing of the Sparky thing, yard sale is happening outside and toys are being sold. So now everyone is getting into procedures so they don't get chosen. But subsequently enough, Wheezy gets stolen. Not stolen, chosen. Damn! So now Woody wants to go rescue Wheezy, which to be honest is kind of funny because now the group thinks he's trying to sell himself because he's so depressed and all that stuff. Anyway, let me just play the clip.
He's getting in the box! He's selling himself for 25 cents!
Oh, Woody, you're worth more than that. Oh.
I really think it's kind of funny in a way, but anyway. So after Woody rescues Wheezy, he then falls off the family dog and then he gets picked up, and then Andy's mom doesn't want him to sold, so he gets put on the table and then his string gets pulled along. So now this guy notices Woody and he's a collector apparently, or a scalper, it depends how you view this guy, and this guy is fiending, and I mean fiending over Woody, and he wants to buy Woody all of a sudden, and Andy's mom again says no, but this guy can't take no for an answer. Just like me, bro. Why do I keep saying that? Anyway, he steals Woody and then just basses off. Now, here's the thing. Here's where the story kinda complements now. Can Buzz and his gang rescue Woody before Woody gets taken to Japan? Okay, so the second thing that makes a great or damn near perfect sequel is new in-depth characters. Now, what sequels fail to do most of the times is introduce new, complex, and meaningful characters. Instead, they introduce characters for the sake of introducing them. Prime examples, are Batman vs Superman, TASM 2 with Electro and Rhino, and the second Incredibles with a lackluster new villain. A sequel should always further the OG characters, whether by tapping into their backstories if they didn't in the first one, or further developing relationships between them. However, most sequels cannot do that and don't have the production time to even do that, leaving audiences wanting more in a bad way. Prime examples of these are The Dark Knight Rises with Selina being underutilized and not being developed, or the second Lego movie straight up ignoring what made these characters tick in the first place and focusing on new characters. Not that it's a bad thing to focus on new characters, but not to the point where it overshadows the original characters and the journey that they went through in the predecessor. Most of the times, this reason makes sequels fail when it comes to chapters, when it comes to characters. Either they introduce a new character or they just fumble the new character that they've introduced, or they dumb down the original characters and they make them less in depth, or they make them into a side joke, a gig, or a running gag. Now, in what most of these sequels fail in, Toy Story 2 succeeds in. Because not only these characters introduced are well liked and in depth, but they don't ignore the OG characters and actively make them more engaging, more complex, and reveal new elements about them. Let's take Buzz for an example. Now you would think in the first movie, since he thought he was a real spaceman, he's stupid. But in Toy Story 2 clearly shows that no, Buzz is exceptionally smart since he was able to find out who kidnapped Woody from just a feather and a number plate, clearly proving my point of that he is smart. And let's look at Woody, who was all over Andy wanting to be his main toy, to straight up almost leaving him. And it's not like a complete 180 out of nowhere. No, it took some heavy convincing from the prospector and Jesse's backstory for him to reconsider. What this means is that these characters are not one-dimensional and that they are able to pivot when necessary. The movie also further deepens the relationship between Woody and Buzz, as Buzz is determined to rescue Woody no matter what, showcasing the loyalty and the value in their relationship, since Woody in the previous movie was also willing to rescue Buzz. So anyway, Buzz is also upset when Woody decided to stay with the Roundup gang, but he accepts Woody's decision, which shows respect and understanding. Even though Woody hesitated to, and told him later that he reconsiders, you can see the joyfulness on Buzz's face. As you know, bro really cannot live life without Woody now. So yeah, Toy Story 2 also deepens interpersonal relationships. So yeah. Now, what Toy Story 2 also does is introduce new characters. It's good at it. Pretty good at it. I mean, the main standout out of these new characters is obviously Mrs. Potatoes. I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's Jessie, who is this cowgirl who is part of this Roundup gang. She's energetic, too energetic in my opinion. But she's not this one-dimensional happy-go-lucky character. She is arguably one of the saddest backstories ever, showcasing her life with this girl Emily, until Emily became older and started forgetting her, and then she was waiting for Emily to finally notice her because she was under her bed, and when she noticed her, she just kind of cast her away. She just abandoned her. She sent her to like a donating site. No, not even a donating. She left her in the side of the road, guys. Inside of the road. So I'm not gonna lie, in this movie it's showing that she has anxiety of trauma of that event happening, something that we have not seen yet in this franchise. And honestly, the way she reacts to Woody talking about Andy is pretty based. I mean, she has been through a lot, and it's understandable why she would say Andy will abandon Woody, because she thinks that Andy is like Emily. Well, to be fair, it does have its similarities, but it's not that they're different people. But towards the end, she finally accepts Woody's offer to come and stay and be Andy's toy, signaling change in her character and believing that she is not worthless and can be loved. Again, I mean, we also got the Rizzy moment between her and Buzz. I mean, Buzz. Bro is smart and got game. Nah, bro is MVP of the movie, hands down. I don't care what y'all say. I'll think. But you know who isn't the MVP of this movie? The prospector. Now honestly, I got nothing to say about this guy, instead of he's possibly creepy, and the fact that bro really wanted to go to Japan. That's not menacing of a villain compared to Sid, who literally blew up toys for the love of the game. Come on guys. But he's alright. I mean, like, he's alright. In the other hand, Al, it's just a Discord mode. I'm not gonna lie, that's all I'm gonna really say. Overall, if I was gonna point out something that Toy Story 2 almost failed in, it was villains. Bro, technically, they're not even villains, they're just antagonists, but just Jackson Storm levels of antagonism. But alright, I rest my case. Okay, honestly, seriously, I'm just kidding with y'all. The Prospector is really an interesting villain to say the least. The concept of a near open toy that is in mint condition is quite different, and it really does stand out in the beginning. He was very persuasive. Well, he is very persuasive, telling Woody not to go back to Andy. It seems as if he was trying to look out for Woody so that he doesn't become another Jesse. Which, to be fair, regardless of his intentions, that point is quite clear and super valid. But, you know, his intentions are not quite pure. I mean, since he was in this box mint condition, it could mean that he never got the opportunity. Oh, who am I kidding? He never got the opportunity to be played with. That's why he doesn't understand Woody nor Jesse in this movie, and really wants to go to Japan to be displayed forever. And I get it in a way, but also in a way, what's the point? I mean, the core purpose of a toy is to be played with by kids. The relationship between a kid and his or her toy is magical. And yes, cases like Jesse is truly heartbreaking and very unfortunate, but in life you keep it pushing, you move on, and the fact that in the end the Prospector ends up with an owner and is mad pissed about it showcases fear of being abandoned, turning into Jesse. He is bitter towards owners, and I hope for the sake of being a Disney Pixar movie that he gets the happy ending that he truly deserves. He's a cool harmless antagonist, to be honest. Whether his intentions were super valid or not, because they are kind of valid. I mean, owners will grow up and will let me put it in my word. Okay. Owners will grow up and will eventually forget about the toys, you know? So he's more or less a justified villain. That's what I can say. Is Toy Story 2 a good sequel? No, it's not. It's a perfect one. Toy Story 2 expands the universe in a good way. It showcases maturity between characters, growth battling with huge ultimatums or trying to make huge decisions. You know, it's awesome how the concept of like being ripped or broken is taken seriously, just like the first one, and it doesn't make the viewer feel stupid, but by going back to the same character before and not progressing. Like for example, Buzz at the first movie, was a running gag since he thought he was a real space ranger, and in Toy Story 2, instead of doing the same thing over and over, they introduced a different Buzz who obviously will act like the first Buzz, to showcase that our Buzz has really changed, has really gone through a phase. I also love the sequel for the fact that it really makes sense and shows a new element, like adults liking toys, even though it's for different reasons. And also I like the concept of like a collector, being a collector's toy. I mean, that's fresh and new, and it takes the plot to a new direction. Not only that, but it makes two things for Toy Story 2. One, it makes Toy Story 2 stand out with an amazing plot and concept. It also does most to make the new elements stand out. Number two, it does not insult the first movie's foundation, it builds on it. It takes what the first movie did great and makes it greater while introducing new elements. A sequel shouldn't destroy the meal, rather it should add some ingredients to make the meal even taste better. And that's what Toy Story 2 did perfectly. It expanded the story and the story's universe amazingly. It introduced new, engaging, in-depth characters, like the one that stands out the most is Jesse, obviously. And honestly, I didn't really do it justice in this video essay, but this character is more in-depth than you think. And finally, it doesn't sacrifice the humor for a more serious story. Instead, it does a great job with both the humor and the story. Honestly, Toy Story 2 is the perfect sequel and could actually be the greatest sequel of all time. Well, up there until a select few, of course. But in my eyes, this is a movie that really capitalized on what made the first movie great and expanded on it. It is great as a sequel, and it is great as a sequel to the critically acclaimed Toy Story of 1995. And the animation is really looking good for a 1998, 1999, between those years. I'm sorry, sometimes my research is all over the place. But really, Honestly, what do you think of Toy Story 2? Is it the greatest sequel? Is it not? Are there other sequels that are better than Toy Story 2? Comment down below and I'll see you when I see you. Stay healthy, stay awesome, peace. Much love.
Look, like Kakarot, you my chichi, acting like you need me. Talked about the future for me, this change is so easy. Seamless how you change, shot right at a range. Forgot I was replaceable, how quickly that you change. I've been nagging on for a minute, been lost all over ways. When the shit's hit into my days, I lost the only way, bitch, fuck you, go away.